Coming to you from the mountains and the plain. The only conservative voices brave enough to push back. This is the Conservative Daily Podcast with Joe Otto.
That's what the Second Amendment was designed to do. If you're going to do something to nullify or take away my rights under the Constitution, come get it.
Max McGuire.
When you look at politicians on the left, they need to convince people that they are victims.
A resistance to the resistance. And now your hosts, Joe Otto and Max McGuire.
And welcome back to another edition of the Conservative Daily Podcast. My name is Max McGuire.
This is Joe Otto, and it's Friday.
It's Friday, and most important, this is the first day after we all learned that Donald Trump has now been diagnosed with COVID-19.
Yep.
Now, according to the CDC's data, he has a 95% chance of surviving based on his age. So he has very good chances. But there are leftists all over the place on social media, on the internet, celebrating this. And Joe, I didn't get any sleep last night because I've been literally screenshotting these things all morning, all night, because a lot of them ended up being deleted by the time the morning came around. But I am determined that today we are going to name and shame these people.
Good.
I'm going to tell you who they are. I'm going to tell you what they do for a living. And if they have an employer, we'll tell you who they're employed by. Not to cancel culture, just if perchance, I mean, one of these people actually draws comics for DC Comics, right? Batman, Superman, he's a comic artist. So if you like the productions or the companies that these people work for, by all means, reach out to them and let them know how ashamed you are of the fact that they hired these people and they're keeping them on payroll. So that's our goal today. We're going to be naming and shaming. Now, I debated. Joe, you haven't seen the list yet, but I debated whether or not to include regular people. And by regular people, I mean people who don't have that coveted blue check mark on Twitter. And I put it out to the community last night and this morning, and they bombarded us with a bunch of people that they had found on Twitter and Facebook who weren't celebrities.
Who weren't
celebrities. So,
I mean, that's like playing. All right.
Well, so by posting it, we're not covering it. We're not going to do it on the podcast. But everyone who posts it, if you find someone who isn't a celebrity and you post it on our page, as far as I'm concerned, by speaking out and declaring that they wish Donald Trump dead, I believe that that's a newsworthy event, and that justifies reporting them. We're not going to cover it in the podcast. We're just going to deal with the blue check marks because we have way too many to deal with the other ones. But if you're going to post them, feel free. As far as I'm concerned, they have justified the criticism by being such a horrible person. And I'm going to say this. If you're waiting for the episode to share, this is the one to share. Because we have lined up 60 different leftists all working all different industries who on Twitter and Facebook and other social media pages over the last 12 hours either wished that Donald Trump would die, celebrated the fact, laughed about it. So hit that share button. We want to name and shame these people, and the only way to do that is to get as many eyeballs on this as possible. So before we start, I want to start with this. This was the first one, and again, I was up all night. This came from, I believe, Sky News over in England. And it's an actor, Dominic West. He's an actor famous for his role of Jimmy McNulty on The Wire and Noah Soloway on The Affair. Golden Globe nomination, bunch of awards. Let's play his take on early morning television over in the UK. Let's play that clip.
A sort of instinctive reaction when you heard?
Well, I did slightly leap in the air with joy. He said it is what it is, and I think the phrase is "what goes around comes around." I just hope it doesn't interfere with him being elected out of office. That's all.
Right. So you are one of those who subscribe. I'm sure
Hollywood.
You wish him personally all the best, but subscribe that there's an element of karma in this.
Well, there's an element of Schadenfreude, I suppose. I'm not a fan of his, as you probably tell, and I just hope Biden stays healthy and gets the presidency as quickly as possible. I think Trump is a catastrophe for America and for the world.
I think this guy's a catastrophe.
So that was him. Most of what everything else we're going to cover today is people on Twitter or Facebook or other social media pages. They're behind their computers. They feel, even though they have that blue check mark, we know who they are, they feel like they have an element of anonymity. But that actor, Dominic West, went live on television and said he jumped for joy at the news that the President of the United States and the First Lady of the United States had contracted COVID-19.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, for months, we've been told that Donald Trump is the reason that discourse has gone down the tubes, and that if only we got rid of Donald Trump, we'd be a united nation, we'd be a united world, and we'd all be happy, peace, love, rainbows, unicorns, everything. But you see that the minute that Donald Trump's diagnosis is revealed, you see that the very people who claim that they had the moral high ground have actually revealed themselves to be scum of the earth. And we're going to call it as is. These people are scum. They are human scum. No, I'm not dehumanizing them. They are human scum. They are the worst of the worst. And we're going to name and shame them. So
guys,
Joe, can you turn down your headphones a little bit? We're getting a little bit of an echo.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let's see here. All right, how's that?
A little bit better.
Is that better? All right.
Yeah. So why don't we go ahead and, Mr. Producer, let's play the slideshow.
Right, hold on a second. Hold on. Max gets more fired up about this stuff. I actually put a Superman logo on the president's chest. Look, he has a 99.99% chance of surviving this. Right?
Well, in his age group, it's a 95 and change. That's what the data shows.
If the data is correct and that there actually is 200,000 people that died of COVID.
Right? Well, that's the data purely on that age group, on people who have tested positive. That's not including asymptomatic. So among the people who have tested positive, have a positive test result, it's 95 and change. Now, Donald Trump has access to bleeding edge technology. Every single experimental drug, every single experimental treatment is going to be fast-tracked for him. So he's not going to go without any medical equipment or any medical treatments. So he have a very, very good chance of surviving. And I'm confident that he will. And I think he'll probably come out ahead when all is said and done.
Well, and he's not feeling terrible either, so there's that.
Well, that's how it starts.
Well,
that's how it starts.
He could be asymptomatic.
Well, he's not asymptomatic. He actually is showing symptoms. He says feeling very lethargic. His wife, Melania, is showing symptoms. So they've said that they're both symptomatic, but they said right now their symptoms are mild, so they're hopeful. Sandy in the comment section on Facebook says, what if it's a false positive?
Yeah.
These people are telling us who they really are. It's possible. But for Donald Trump and Melania Trump both to have false positives at the same time, that's where you start, it becomes less likely. Obviously, one person can always have the odds of a false positive, but when you have two people living together, both testing positive, the odds of them both getting a false positive are much slimmer than him alone getting it. But it's a good question. So let's go ahead and play the video. Let's go ahead and play the video. So this is the tweet that Donald Trump put out last night. Tonight, Flotus and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together. And this set off the entire firestorm. It set off the entire firestorm. And what we're going to see is what followed. Angry leftists going crazy on Twitter, declaring that they're happy he's dying. They want him to die. They think it's karma. They think he gets what he deserves. Really, really crazy stuff. And this is Melania Trump's tweet. As too many Americans have done this year, @POTUS and I are quarantining at home after testing positive for COVID-19. We are feeling good, and I've postponed all upcoming engagements. Please be sure you are staying safe, and we will all get through this together. So that was Melania Trump's, and she got her own pushback. Amazingly, when the FLOTUS gets sick, America dances. A leftist America apparently dances as well. So those are the two tweets that kind of set it off. And the next tweet, we have about 30 seconds in between each of these tweets. I want to keep them on long enough. This was actually a positive one from Piers Morgan. He said, it's interesting to see those who've spent the last few years screaming that Trump's an uncaring, heartless, empathy-devoid bastard, now spewing their gleeful joy that he and his wife have a deadly virus. They're no better than the man they loathe, which I thought was a very, very refreshing take from Piers Morgan. But I wanted to play that because it wasn't all bad. But what's about to follow is 60 straight tweets from leftists who deserve to be named and shamed. So here's the first one. Zara Rahim, she says, it's been against my moral identity to tweet this for the past 4 years, but, I hope I hope he Sparkle dies, sparkle emoji. I hope he dies. Now, Zara Rahim worked in the Obama White House, and she used to be Hillary Clinton's spokesperson. So coming out with this hot take, Zara Rahim, I hope he dies, with little twinkly star emojis. Now, I will not recommend that anyone go and brigade her Twitter, but if by chance you happen to see her on social media, by all means, naturally, let her know how you feel. And this was the other tweet that she put up. Zara Rahim, this effing rules, with a picture of her smiling. So I just wanted to make sure that we can name and shame Zara Rahim. Again, she worked for the Obama administration. She also was Hillary Clinton's spokesperson. Well, no, it's important. She was a spokesperson for Hillary Clinton. So we wanted to make sure that we name and shame her as well. And again, don't brigade her pages. All these people have blue check marks, so they're all public figures. I'm not trying to have you run over there and all swarm her pages.
How is she a public figure? How is she a public figure?
She just says
with just working for. I'm amazed.
Here's Lisa Curry. She goes by ASAP Curry, and she says, quote, I hope he suffers through this and dies as he's losing on election night, end quote. Now, she is, I believe, an actress / musician. She's a nobody, too, but Twitter has decided to give her a little check mark as well. So just want to make sure we can all see what's going on there. That's Lisa Curry.
I get more likes on my posts than she does.
well, that was early. I got that right at 1 a.m. So here's another guy, this guy at Must Die. He's a musician, and he writes, I hope they die. And then Mike Diva, apparently another musician, wow, real petty of you, man. You had a chance to be a good person here and take the high road, but you didn't. Disappointing. JK, LOL, hope he dies slow, with a smiling emoji. Again, don't brigade their pages. These people are public figures. They have their little blue check marks. Don't brigade their pages. Don't all run over there and tweet at them. But if you see them out and about, feel free to let them know how you feel about what they said. And again, Must Die, a musician, says, quote, I only ever wanted you to suffer, replying to Donald Trump's tweet that he and the First Lady have tested positive. Pretty shameful stuff. But these are leftists for you.
The guy's a freak anyway.
Yeah, well, he has a following.
He has a following. A bunch of misfit followers. That's great. A bunch of
Everyone,
zeros
make sure you
sitting in their basement.
Hit the share button. We have another 58 of these slides. Here's Anthony. What's his full name? Let me get his full name. Anthony Fantano. He writes at times for the New York Times. He said, quote, yeah, the irony of Trump catching a disease he let thousands and thousands of people die of is quite delicious. Even if it wasn't vegan, I wouldn't stop eating it. He said it's delicious that Donald Trump has now caught a deadly disease, and he works for the New York Times. So if you happen to still get the New York Times, if
he let thousands and thousands of people die. These people are ridiculous. Actually, I wanted to use another word, but I'm not going to use that word right now. It just gets, I don't know.
So here,
you know what? You know what it reminds me of?
Sam,
they just need to get their ass beat. That's really what they need to. They just need to get their ass beat.
So here's actually a wrestler, Sam Khandagabadi, a trans wrestler, and he/she says if he dies, it is what it is. That's a professional trans wrestler. So if you happen to watch any of the leagues she's in, maybe you should turn it off. But I imagine that they'll be Trump supporters.
Notice that most of these people are all foreigners. They're all people that have never spent any time in the United States. Barely.
Well, no, we have a lot of Americans on this list. Daniel Golson, he's the social media editor for Roadshow, which is I believe it's a car program or car website, car magazine. He is the social media editor, and he says, quote, I don't feel bad about hoping he dies because I've been hoping that since 2015. Daniel Golson, at DS Golson, again, don't brigade him, but if you find him out and about, feel free to let him know how you feel. We're only at number 9. We have a lot more of these. So this is Kyle Stark. Kyle Stark is an artist that draws comic books professionally. He draws comics professionally. He says, quote, I was about to go to bed, but y'all out here giving off big energy hoping a man is going to die, end quote. Kyle Starks. The Kyle Starks, at the Kyle Starks. Again, don't brigade him. Just let him know how you feel. If you see him out and about. Not telling you to go over there. That's against Facebook's rules. Just letting you know what he actually tweeted out. Because he has a blue check mark. Kyle Starks, scum of the earth. The Gravel Institute. Now, the Gravel Institute is an organization that was created to basically counteract PragerU. And they said, quote, hypocrite Donald Trump claims to be pro-life, comma, dies. That's the leftist version of PragerU.
Wow.
Pretty crazy, huh, Joe?
Yeah. It is, actually. But I will tell you that nobody even knows that. Everyone knows that PragerU exists. No one knows the Gravel Institute exists.
So this is a musician
Everybody knows
who
Conservative
goes by...
Daily, but I just tried to look up Gravel Institute, and he doesn't look like they get a whole lot of following. It looks more like a Biden campaign event.
This is a musician who goes by iDress. Not a lot of likes, but this was I grabbed this right at 1 a.m. This MF better die, LOL. That is someone who has a music label, has a music contract. If it was a conservative, we saw over the week, there was a conservative, a bicycle rider who basically replied to a tweet that said bye when someone said they want anyone who likes Trump to leave. He said bye, and he got kicked off his cycling team. Here's Phil Nolan. Phil Nolan, let me make sure I get this right. Phil Nolan is a film... Oh, no, wait, no, he's not a film critic. Phil Nolan is a freelance esports and media videographer. He just tweeted out the word die at 1:08 a.m. Die. That man works for freelance videography. Here is Simon Abrams. He's a film critic. And he wrote at 11:59 p.m. I guess that was on the West Coast that was screenshotted. For once, I'm rooting for the virus. End quote. Simon Abrams, film critic. He gets paid to give people his opinions, and his opinions are pieces of shit. Oh, sorry, I have to let you know. I'm probably going to curse by the time this is all over. So earmuffs if you're a kid.
I don't even know why I'm on this one. This was a really good one, but Max is not. Yeah. I take it for what it is, Max. I mean, yeah. Look, these are classless pieces of garbage, right? They all are, but you're describing most of the left. So you act like you're surprised. You act like you're surprised that these people are acting this way.
This guy's a New York Times byline editor, Alan Scherstuhl. I'm worried this might interfere with my dream of seeing him die in prison. Works for the New York Times for their bylines, among other things. Amazing. This guy goes by Nedarb. He is a guitarist in the band If I Die First. Don't know it, but he replied to Donald Trump's tweet, please die, please die, please die. He has a music contract. He's a professional musician. Whatever music label signed him, I'm sure this does not look kindly on them. So again, if you listen to that band or you don't like that band, I'm sure you can find it yourself if you have the time. Contact his music label and let them know what you think about him saying to the president, please die, please die, please die. This person goes by Chastity, again a musician, replying to Donald Trump and the First Lady, time to die, please. Time to die, please. Now, Joe, you don't think this is a big deal, but these are people that walk among us. These are people that walk among us, and we don't know their true intentions. They seem like decent members of society, when actually they're pieces of crap. So I know that you think that this isn't that big of a deal. Let's go and pause this one so we can talk for a little bit.
Hold on a second. I think, let me just tell you what I think. It's really simple, right? I think that we're going to spend an hour talking about this. We'll uncover some people. We'll probably get people here that say, hey, listen, I used to, watch those films. Now I'm not going to. I'll probably reach out and say to those people that, hey, I think you're a piece of garbage. But frankly, we're giving them airtime. So,
Well, no. There's a difference between giving them airtime and naming and shaming.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than letting them get away with this.
But they're sociopaths. I mean, you're talking about sociopaths. You're talking about people that don't feel anything except for themselves. They're all a bunch of selfish bottom dwellers, right? And you want to do this, I'm fine with you doing it, right? I mean, I'm fine. But I'm just telling you that they're bottom dwellers. You're surprised that you have bottom dwellers that don't believe in anything but themselves, right? Faithless, just scumbags. And you're surprised that they do this stuff.
I'm not surprised. I know that these people existed. It's just I think that we would be remiss if we didn't take this opportunity to name and shame them and reveal them for the pieces of crap that they actually are. Because if Donald Trump supporters had done this to Joe Biden, the media wouldn't even be limiting it to blue check marks.
Right.
They'd be going after the kids doing it. They'd be going after the grandmas and grandpas, like CNN when they dox people.
Yeah.
So I understand the need not to give these people airtime.
I've been doxxed many times. They've come after me many times, and I just tell them, look, you'll run out of money before I do. For number one, number two, so what? You let the internet has become a joke, Max. It really has, because it's covered with trolls. It's covered with people that have literally live in a faithless society, that they think when they die they turn into dirt. That's what they think. They have no conscience, right? They've been able to talk themselves out of a conscience. So I don't know. I'm interested in knowing who the people are. So I'm glad you went through and did all of this, right? But I just, in my opinion, I just look at it and go, we're talking about scumbags. We knew they were scumbags before we even started, right?
Oh yeah, this is Danielle Moscato. We go ahead and hit play. She considers herself a civil rights activist.
Now
and
that
she
bothers
wrote,
me.
I am not one to laugh at other people's suffering, but ... Ha 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 ha. Burn in hell, you mother effer. Danielle Moscato, civil rights activist, a host of the Resist podcast. Again, I will not tell you to brigade, but if you ever happen to find that Resist podcast and you want to leave them a review on what you think of her, I'm sure that they would welcome honest reviews on their podcast. Here's Sean Burns. He's a film critic. A nice thing about this is that he's still around to see how happy we're all gonna be when he dies. Sean M. Burns, a film critic. Hit the share button, people. I really think it's important. I think it's important that everyone knows who these people are.
I mean, look, here's why I'm not mad, right? I got faith that Donald Trump is in office. He has been, the creator has put him there. Like, he is there because God wants him there. And I have no doubt that he will 100% recover from this. He will 100% go through this with flying colors. And I know that he will be good, and that all of these people are seriously going to lose their mind when he walks out in 13 days and goes, surprise! How you doing? I'm back to who I was. Hey, what's up? Hey, let's have another rally. Where are we going? Let's go. Right?
This is David Goldstein. He's a senior fellow at Civic Ventures. He says, no, but seriously, I hope he dies. Now we have Bill TPA. He is the host of a baseball podcast, and he wrote, I hope they all die. I'm not naming names, so I'm not violating Twitter's policy against wishing anyone harm. I hope they all die. And that man collects a paycheck, giving you his opinion on baseball. These people are not all just political columnists. They're not all baseball writers. These people are all over the place. Rob
he killed 200,000 people. This freaking idiot right here. This idiot. This is how stupid these people are. Yeah, photographer. He takes pictures for a living.
Rob Hoffman. He killed 200,000 people. Hope he dies a horrible death. Now, I'd be curious to see what media outlets pay Rob Hoffman for their photos. I'm sure someone can go and look it up, and I'm sure that conservatives would like to know and not frequent them and let them know why they're not frequenting those publications, because that's what the man behind the camera actually thinks. I hope he dies a horrible death. Brandon Sheffield. I find him.
Do you notice what they all have in common? They're all freaks. We're talking about a bunch of bottom-dwelling freaks.
So he's a video game developer he's a video game developer for Necrosoft. And he says, I will say, I do hope he dies. So he actually develops video games for a company that produces video games for the right and the left. So if you're a gamer, if you like their games, let them know why you're not going to be buying their games anymore. Necrosoft Studios. It's important. It's all different elements. Here's Brad Galloway. Let me find him. I have a whole list of all these little scumbags. Brad Galloway is an editor at GameCritics.com. Quote, I don't want the current powers of the GOP to rally behind someone savvier and more civilized than Trump, because we're already in enough trouble as it is. But I'm not going to pretend and be polite here. I hope Trump effing dies a painful COVID death, and I'm not sorry. That guy is an editor at a video game review website. So if you like video games, GameCritics.com. If you like video games and you frequent that site, let them know why you won't be doing it anymore. Blair Amadeus Imani. I don't even know what the hell she does. But she wrote on Twitter, praying for your oppressor doesn't make you a better person than the people who actually have sense.
No idea.
That's her hot take. About. Well, she's saying that Donald Trump's an oppressor. So it doesn't make you a better person to actually pray that he doesn't die. It would make you a better person to pray that he dies. And that the people who have real sense hope he dies. Again, I didn't give these people the blue check marks.
Susan,
Linda
right.
Sarsour, let's pause it here.
I agree.
Pause right here. This person's not a nobody. Linda Sarsour is a Islamist. Islamist feminist, which is no, she isn't. She leads the Women's March. She's not a nobody at all. She's like an advisor to most of the Democrat politicians.
And what do you what do a lot of these people have in common? And they're mindless followers, right? Foreigners, not Americans, or barely American. Sorry, that's true.
Well, I think that anyone who actually hopes that the President of the United States dies, I don't think you can define them as an American.
I can define everything that's going on right now. I can tie it all the way back to foreign interest. I can tie all of it back. I could tie it back to radical Islamists. I can tie it back there. I could tie it back to 2001 when the World Trade Centers fell. I could tie it all the way back to that. Because now we got to be apologists, and they come in and they literally invade every. Look at Ilhan Omar. They just break the law. They do whatever they want.
Yeah.
We're eroding our country because of foreign interests. And I promise you that Linda Sansori, or whatever her name is, I promise you she gets money from
Linda
foreign
Sarsour.
interest. I promise
she absolutely does.
She gets funded by people overseas. I promise you.
She also gets funded by a lot of Americans. A lot of Americans involved in the Women's March.
It doesn't matter.
And she wrote, look, seems like someone don't want to go back to the debate stage, rubbing your chin in deep thought emojis.
Look, I'm going to say this, Max. No. I spent enough time in the Middle East and Africa. There's a lot of great people, but there is an underlying just culture to try and destroy everything in America. It is.
Oh, that could be true.
Say what you want.
That could be true. And Americans and American leftists can also organically just be pieces of crap.
Oh, yeah.
Both of these things can be true at the same time. So let's go ahead and hit play again and go to the next one.
They've infected our schools, right? I mean, this is everything that we're seeing right now is the anti-Christian, anti-faith, anti-American rhetoric. And they basically, it started in school, in public school. Public school, they just created indoctrination and just infected that, and then it just spread. That's why you have these little punks.
Tony Atamanuik, he's a writer for TV shows. He said, instead of praying, wear a mask, and to quote the First Lady, F Christmas.
What?
Well, you didn't hear that? The First Lady was cursing about how she was calling a friend of hers, and she was angry about how she had to do Christmas. Like, oh, that's what you have to do. So she dropped an F-bomb, complaining about how she was required to do all the Christmas decorations. And here he goes again. I mean, I can't get over Rachel Maddow praying for real Donald Trump when, based on his irresponsible behavior and attitude, he might have infected Speaker Pelosi, Joe Biden, countless White House staff and military who served the president. He mocked mask wearing. It's truly pathetic. No, he mocked the fact that Joe Biden wears a mask when he's in an empty field and there's 100 yards between him and the nearest person. That's what he mocked. And how he wears a mask in his own house when there's no one but him and his wife. That's what Trump originally mocked the other night.
Hey, maybe Joe Biden got it. I mean, I'm just saying. Maybe
Michael.
It's I don't wish anybody dies, right? But I just found it funny that these people are a bunch of sniveling little children.
Michael Harriet, senior writer for The Root website. Y'all, this ain't no hoax. These MFers are dumb as F. Everything they have in life came from hubris and whiteness. They couldn't plan a picnic if you gave them a basket and a blanket. This dumb F had every protection in the universe available to him and still caught COVID. That guy has a job writing for a website called The Root.
He has bad grammar. How does he actually write for anything? Does somebody else write for him?
Don Winslow is a best-selling author.
Because his grammar is terrible.
Don Winslow is a best-selling author. He says, quote, I am so confused by your tweet. Why would you need to recover from a hoax? What Donald Trump said was not that COVID was a hoax, was that Democrats were trying to create it as a hoax, that he was to blame for everything. That's what he called a hoax. And that was fact-checked at the time, but leftists do this thing. They repeat the same lie over and over and over again until you bury all the fact checks with lies, and that just becomes the truth. Hasanabi. He's a streamer. He's an alumni from the Young Turks.
Yeah, a lot of these people
leftist
have something
program.
in common.
I think the only thing cooler than Trump getting COVID after downplaying it and killing 200,000 Americans is watching all the sickos conservatives cry about how mean the left is. That guy is a streamer. He is, I believe he's on Twitch, and it's a violation of Twitch's terms of service to wish death upon someone. Very interested to see whether Hasanabi, formerly of the Young Turks, will get taken off of Twitch. Now, this is someone I'm very shameful to actually share a last name with. Kevin McGuire, he's an editor for the Daily Mirror, which is a website in the UK. Quote, nobody spread more fake news about the virus than Trump, who called COVID-19 a hoax. Again, he didn't. Shunned masks. He didn't. And then pretended the pandemic was over. He didn't. He said we're rounding the corner. He should stay off the disinfectant. This, on top of 200,000 deaths, could wreck his re-election chances.
You don't share a last name with him, by the way.
Yeah, we do, because when McGuire's came through Ellis Island, it really depended on how someone heard the name, whether they heard an A or a C. Yeah, we're all related.
You might be, but you don't share it. You don't have to share it if you don't want to. We can stop you from sharing it.
Wendy Molyneux, she's a writer for Bob's Burgers, which is a cartoon TV show on Fox. When you walk around the U.S. without a mask and pretend COVID isn't real, you get COVID. Thus, the president has COVID. It's an effing mess. He made a mess of it, and now he has it, and I doubt very much it is a hoax. That is someone who writes TV shows for Fox Network. If you happen to watch Bob's Burgers, which I don't, and you don't think she should be on the staff anymore, let them know.
But here's the thing. Most of these people, if not all of these people, are zeros. I'm sorry, they're zeros. Zero.
Another political commentator / writer. October surprise. Contract the deadly virus that you willingly failed to contain. Complete lie. Complete lie. It's a pandemic. It's a novel virus, a novel respiratory virus. Donald Trump didn't willingly fail to contain anything. It's just horse crap. But that is the hot take from Brian Tyler Cohen. Judy Gold, she is an author and podcast host. FYI, I am really holding back right now, and it's not easy. #karma. Now, she has contracts with publishers to publish her books, and those publishers expect her to put out books that conservatives and liberals would both like. If you have bought her book before and you don't like how she's acting on Twitter, let her publishers know. I'm sure they would love to hear from the people they rely on to buy their books. Judy Gold. Look how she spells it. @Judy Gold. Jewdy. Sober Rob, another one of those streamers. LMFAO, Trump gonna die. Hopefully he doesn't make a fast recovery and spin this into COVID not being a big deal, but I have a bad feeling. He has a bad feeling that Trump might make a fast recovery. I think all these, I'm not about cancel culture, not at all. But if we're gonna live in the left's rules, play by the left's rules, live in their reality, all these assholes need to be canceled. Every single one of them. Every one of them. V. Styles. So Trump got COVID, huh? Well, if he dies, he dies. I mean, what do you have? There's not. We're halfway through these, but you see, I grabbed that one right when it was tweeted. One retweet, one quote tweet. That's how late I was up last night.
Or actually, maybe that's all that's still there.
No, he has more. I snagged that immediately. John Cahoe, he is an Australian journalist, another one of those foreigners, Joe. It's the October surprise we have all been waiting for.
Yep.
Donald Trump catching a virus. An Australian journalist celebrating the fact that the President of the United States and the First Lady of the United States have contracted COVID-19. Listen, I can understand if you hate Trump, but what has the First Lady done to you? I mean, this is how shameful these people are. They go after Barron if he had it. They laugh at that. Here is Lauren Ho. She's a writer. He's a writer. I don't even know what this person's gender is. Replying to Mike Pence, I join millions of Americans in saying it is what it is. It is what it is. She's a writer. She gets paid to write her thoughts by outlets that want to appeal to both Republicans and Democrats. If you frequent any of the places that she writes for, let them know. Again, just playing by the leftist rules. I'm not into cancel culture. But if we're going to live in that reality, we might as well let them know. This is Michael Bonfiglio. Probably mispronounced that. He's a film director. He's actually a director.
It's Banditelli.
After Rachel... What?
Brett Banditelli.
I grabbed the wrong one. Sorry, he's an executive producer of the Rick Smith Show, and he replied to Rachel Maddow and said, "No safe harbor for fascists," after Rachel Maddow said, "We're praying for Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump." Sorry, I jumped the gun. Here we go. Michael Bonfiglio. He is a film director. Quote, "I hope Trump's diagnosis wakes his supporters up to the reality of the pandemic and also that it makes him suffer and die." That man directs films.
Most of these people are pedophiles. Most of these people are rapists. Most of these people are closet racists. Most of these people are anti-Christian, anti-American people. Most of them are, if not all of them.
I don't know any of that. All I know is that they're assholes. And if we're going to live in a cancel culture world, he should never make another film again. Let's play by the left's rules. This guy's interesting. Cameron Kasky. He was in the Parkland shooting. He's a gun control advocate. He replied to Donald Trump and FLOTUS, "I hope you get a mutation of the virus that makes your anus fall off." This is the child trying to advance gun control in the United States. And that's how he responded to the idea of the commander-in-chief contracting a virus. Not very mature, is he?
Well, none of them are.
This is Zach Grauman. He was Andrew Yang's campaign manager. This is where we start getting into the actual Democrat officials. Replying to Donald Trump, "I heard that ingesting bleach can help." Now, the interesting thing is that based on Twitter and Facebook's terms of service, you're not allowed to write things like this. But he's allowed to. Leftists are allowed to say that. If a conservative recommended that someone ingest bleach, it'd be taken down for spreading fake news about the coronavirus. But leftists are free to do it. Because the people doing the fact-checking, the people doing the moderating, support it. Here's Frank D'Angelo. Frank D'Angelo, where is he at? Frank D'Angelo, he is a Canadian TV host, and he says, "Any Lysol or bleach enema therapy being used? As per your expertise, will you continue to have your spreader praise racism rallies? You delusional, treasonous, pathological, liar, effing moron, con man, rancid fish lips, incompetent, corrupt, clueless, impeached asshole." That's what... Listen, I thought Canadians were friendly.
Yeah.
I thought Canadians were friendly. My goodness. Rick Wilson, talking head, political talking head, "I don't think his story is going to have a happy ending." And then someone replying, "Nothing a little bleach injection wouldn't fix, according to herd mentality." These people are scumbags. And we need to name and shame all of them. We're 2/3 of the way through. But we're going to name and shame every single one because I was up all night collecting these, and damn it, we're going to do it. So like, subscribe, share, comment. I want as many people to see this as possible. Here's Rachel the Doc Bitekofer. She has a PhD in political science. Very shameful. I share an industry with her. She wrote, quote, "Guess we'll find out just how close Trump and Hope Hicks are, if you know what I mean." Someone responded, "Legitimately, how do you have a platform?" And then she responded, "Because I have a sense of humor and a PhD in my field." Legitimately, why in the F are you following? This asshole just dropped her PhD. And Jake Tapper, this one, let's pause this one here. Jake Tapper reported, hot take from Jake Tapper, "There was no contact from the Trump campaign or the White House to alert the Biden campaign of possible exposure," per senior campaign official who was with Biden at the debate. No, because usually when you debate another candidate, they have a functioning memory. So when news breaks that the president tested positive, you shouldn't have to remind the damn candidate that he was just on stage with them. But no, Biden needs to be reminded because he calls a lid at 11:05 a.m. because he was so tuckered out from his little train ride. He hopped on his little choo-choo train, little press conference, hopped on the choo-choo train, got off the choo-choo train, so tuckered out, had to have a nap and call a lid by 11:05 the next morning. But no, Joe Biden needs to be reminded that he shared a debate stage with Donald Trump. He can't just all turn on the news like the rest of us. I'm sorry. I'm fired up. I'm pissed. I've had no sleep. I've had a lot of coffee. And
did you have a lot of coffee, though?
Angry.
Did you at least have a lot of coffee?
I did.
Did you mix it with beer or just coffee?
No, just coffee.
All right, just coffee.
Just coffee. Let's go ahead and hit play again. This is Jake Tapper.
I'm actually having fun. Take. I'm having fun watching Max just lose his mind right now. Right? If any of these people were in front of him right now, I'm not telling you that he would punch him in the throat, but I'm thinking maybe he'd take a playbook out of my book.
Not saying I wouldn't. Also not saying I wouldn't. This guy goes by Touré. He calls himself a journalist. Rachel Maddow said, God bless the President and First Lady. And he responded, sorry, Rachel, but no, hard pass on praying for that. This man calls himself a journalist. Very, very interesting. Again, these people are nobodies.
They're all zeros. They're all. I mean, that's the thing. Trump train.
But they are given a platform. They are given a platform by these social media sites, and they have a following because, as stupid as meaningless as they are, idiots follow them. So this vile is spreading. Here's Max Berger.
Zach said that I'm being the sound voice of reason today. I at least get some days, Zach. So some days I got to be the sound of reason.
Max Berger worked on Elizabeth Warren's campaign, and he said Trump did this to himself. He inflicted the same misfortune upon millions of others. He's a corrupt white supremacist criminal who's responsible for more American deaths than 9/11 and the wars in Vietnam, Korea, Iraq, and World War I combined. No one should feel bad for him. That is what passes for an Elizabeth Warren campaign official. Trump did it all. Alex Blagg, he is a TV and movie writer. Just a quick note of support for Hope Hicks and President Trump. I hope they both die. That is the man writing for TVs and movies you likely watch. So if you happen to know who he is, and you don't want him writing any more movies, feel free to contact whoever his employer is.
I'm going to tell you, Max, I'm so glad that I gave up football and sports this year. I do watch some college football, but I'm so glad I gave it up because it's giving me a lot of my time back. Somebody asked me the other day, they go, hey, so how are the Steelers doing? And I was like, they're winning, I think, because they always win. He's like, you're not following it? I was like, no, I haven't watched one game. Not one game have I watched. How about basketball? No idea. Don't watch that either. What about football? Or baseball? Nope. Nope. I said, I might get into NASCAR, though. I said, I watch a little bit of golf. And my point is I'm glad that they actually took a stand against America because it just made me just go, oh, I don't have to watch it. I even canceled cable. I canceled cable. I got a lot of TVs in my house. I have no idea what I'm going to use for because I don't actually play video games. Dilemma.
So this is Bette Midler. She's an actress, or at least claims to be. Gee, woke up this morning to learn Donald and Melania have tested positive for COVID-19. How can a hoax infect anyone? That's a new one for me. I'm sure he's taking the Clorox cocktail, but it's so unpleasant. Thoughts and prayers. That's Bette Midler. We all knew she was an asshole, but apparently she wanted to weigh in. And look, 7,000 hearts, 9,900 retweets, just shy of 500 comments.
So just Pete Woods. Wait on, Bette Midler said, go back.
Yeah, we can't go back. That was Bette Midler. This is Pete Woods. He writes, he draws comics for DC Comics, so Batman, Wonder Woman. He says, cheer up, Mr. President. Herman Cain got COVID, and he's still managing to tweet, which is a reference to the fact that Herman Cain's family is keeping his Twitter account active to advance the conservative message that he fought for so many years. He said, cheer up, Mr. President. Herman Cain got COVID, and he's still managing to tweet. That's the guy who draws for DC Comics. If you are a comic book fan and you like Batman or any of those, make sure that you let them know. Here's Jill Stein. First thought, I wish a speedy recovery to the human being buried deep inside the racist, xenophobic fascist. Second thought, maybe now Trump will start taking action on the pandemic. Not holding my breath. She couldn't even. Now, this is the person who ran for president 4 years. She couldn't even just do what they're all expected to do and just say, I hope you get better. She had to say she hopes for a speedy recovery to the human being buried deep inside the racist, xenophobic fascist. She just couldn't help herself. Whitney Cummings, she's a comedian on Comedy Central, and she does other things. I don't get how Melania got it. She's been social distancing from Trump since they got married. And then she said, of course Trump didn't know he had COVID. He never had taste in the first place. That one's not as bad. That was not as bad. But the idea that she's making light of this got her included. I don't think that's nearly as tasteless, but as far as I'm concerned, it's up there. This next one, Joe, Padma Lakshmi, she's an author, and she just responded karma. Karma, that's it.
We're
almost done.
There's a lot more tweets out there that are actually in support of Trump, just like there's a lot more people that show up to Trump rallies.
There are.
I mean, these guys are, you got a couple million people in the United States that are just a bunch of clowns, right? That all stand together. Yeah. That convince other people that are bottom-dwelling, basement dwellers to vote for a mindless shell of a man.
Here's Kate Willett. She's a Netflix comedian. If you still have Netflix, you haven't canceled it yet, let them know what you think about this. Donald Trump tweeted he had COVID, and she responded, "There is joy in this life sometimes." That's what one of Netflix's employees wrote on Twitter last night. There is joy in this life sometimes because Donald Trump tested positive. We're coming to the end, don't worry. Eve Barlow, finally something positive. She's a journalist. Finally something positive that Donald Trump contracted the coronavirus. And I believe the next one is the last one. This one's stunning. This is from Democracy for America, which is a progressive political action committee that was started by Howard Dean. So we're actually getting into like the super PAC realm with this last one. Democracy for America, just wait for it to turn over. Democracy for America tweeted out, "It is what it is." That's an actual 501c4 organization. A nonprofit organization telling the President of the United States it is what it is, the fact that you contracted coronavirus. They believe that they are tax deductible. Does that look tax deductible for you, Joe? No. Does that look like it is expanding civic education the way that their charter requires?
No. I mean, I think they should go after it, but whatever.
Does that seem like they're actually engaged in politics?
No.
Democracy for America. I believe that's the last one. We can now go back to the regular screen, Mr. Producer.
Does everyone know what democracy is? I mean, do you know what democracy is?
Democracy is just everyone gets a vote and whoever has more wins.
Right.
It's basic democracy. 50% plus one gets you a majority.
If you think that's good for America, you have not studied history. A simple majority is not what's good for America. You know.
So everyone, hit that share button if you haven't already on Facebook. Like the video. Continue commenting on YouTube. Please do give us a thumbs up. This took me a long time to put together. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. I truly believe that if we allow these people to, many of those tweets, Joe, were deleted. I got them at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and they were deleted by their publicists by the time the sun came up. So they don't want you to see, many of those don't want you to see what they actually wrote because they know if it gets out there, it'll affect their livelihoods, and they don't want that. And I don't want that either. But if we live in a world of cancel culture where a cyclist, did you see this one, Joe? An American cyclist, his name was Quinn Simmons, the reigning junior road race world champion and the junior U.S. road race champion. He tweeted out "bye." That was it. The word "bye." Someone said basically like, if you support Donald Trump, I never want to see you again. And he tweeted out "bye" with a waving face, and he was kicked off his cycling team just for saying the word "bye." Now they say it's because he used a black-skinned waving hand emoji. No idea what that was about. He wasn't responding to someone who was black. I don't really know if that really meant anything. It might have just been the last thing he'd used. But they said that was why. They kicked him out for one emoji. He now has to rebuild his career. But all these assholes on Twitter celebrating Trump's contraction of the coronavirus, laughing about it, saying it is what it is, celebrating it, right, being happy about it, they all expect to continue to earn a living in media, in publishing, in TV and movies, right? We had photographers in there. We had video game developers. They all think that they can say whatever they want, and then they can delete it, and it'll be like it never happened, which is why I felt it was very important to make sure that we named each and every one of them, told you what they did for a living, told you how you could go and let their employers know if you feel so inclined. I don't want to tell you to brigade anyone. But if we're going to live in this world where if you do anything wrong, even slightly wrong, you get canceled, even doing something as simple as saying bye to someone who says they never want to see a Trump supporter again, if that's the world we live in, then every single one of those people shouldn't have a job. It's leftist rules. I didn't make these rules. What do you think, Joe?
I think you're dealing with good versus evil. We're in those times now that what's bad is good, what's good is bad. 1984 has actually happened, and these people think that they are taking a moral high ground, yet they don't believe in God. So what morality they're actually applying, I don't know what it is. Right? They believe in raping children, and they believe in allowing rapists and pedophiles and closet racists to walk around. That's their thing. They're complicit in that behavior. So, you can't reason with people who are innately evil. You can't, and that's what we're dealing with. These people are innately evil. They're evil. They don't believe in anything but themselves. There is no barometer for acceptability. And unfortunately, it's infected our society, and that benefits foreign interests. That benefits a weakening of America. Benefits foreign interests. They don't want us to be strong. They want to continue to suck the life out of us. They want to continue to use us inside of our communities as slaves. And if you don't think you're a slave, you're a slave. Hey, give me 30%. You got to pay tolls on the highway. Plus, give them your 30%. Plus, give them your income tax.
Well, they want income tax. They want your sales tax. They also now want to do wealth tax.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're taxing us to death, and we haven't decided yet that we're big enough that we can stand up together. We can stop paying our taxes. We can stop giving the government the ability to attack us as people. We can stop funding and allowing this thing to happen in our schools, which is the indoctrination that they're putting our kids through. We can stop it. We can build our own schools. And if you want to choke off the teachers unions, right, which are innately evil, right? If you want to choke those off, all you have to do is stop sending kids there, right? Develop our own charter school systems. They're already out there. But as a community, we have to learn to stand together. We have to learn to let our pettiness put that aside, because frankly, Max, on the right, we eat our own. We do.
We can't put the pettiness aside. We limited this podcast today just to people who had the blue check marks, were confirmed as celebrities or common public figures. We limited to that because social media's terms of service do not allow us to dox people who are not public figures. So we couldn't name and shame someone who is a school teacher or works in the local library, right? Or works in the local town council. We're not allowed to do that. But Joe, I'll tell you, I have hundreds of other images of people that are school teachers, professors. I even found a couple cops, right? Business owners, people among you that are all wishing death on the president of the United States. And what really infuriates me is that as you walk about your day and you're going into a building and you see someone behind you, you held the door open for them just to be nice. But you see what's going on Twitter, and you're holding the door open for evil people. There are evil people among us who actually are happy that the president of the United States contracted coronavirus, right? So we talk about, are we going to be in a civil war? I don't think we can be a country as long as these scum are out there. I don't think it's worthwhile. How can we be a country, united we stand, when there is a significant contingent, both of the celebrity class and just regular Americans, who, when hearing that the president of the United States contracted a virus, they're celebrating? How can we have a country when there is a significant portion of the population that acts like that? Right? The president of the United States is like the captain of the ship. He's like the pilot of the airplane. It takes a real idiot to hope that the captain of the plane dies because the plane crashes. Right? The Dow futures were down 400 points this morning. Who could possibly hate Trump so much that they would want people to lose out on their 401ks to lose money. That they actually would welcome a stock market crash because they hate the president that much, right? They would actually
ruin people's families.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about what we're dealing with, Max? The type of people we're dealing with. I mean, and again, I'm willing to fight for it. I'm willing to lose everything for it, right? I'm willing to sacrifice my life for it to protect this country. 100%, right? But what I'm saying to you is, unless we get to the point where we're willing to stand up, and that's what this FEC United is about, by the way. And we're on fire right now, on fire. The things that we're doing in that organization are just literally catching fire across the nation, right? We've got a law and policy center. We got constitutional lawyers. We got other organizations that are coming in and saying, hey, let's collaborate. We got 81,000 members. 81,000 members. 81,000. Woo. And we've only been out there 17 weeks. But if we can just, and you said we can't lay our pettiness aside. We're going to have to.
No.
All right,
nope.
well, then we can't win, right?
How do you rebuild a country?
The left can leave their
they
pettiness
won't.
aside.
They won't leave their pettiness aside. They're celebrating the President of the United States, Mike Dunleavy.
I'm not talking, see, this is a disconnect. This is how wars start. I'm not talking about the left. I don't care about them. I'm talking about people that are like-minded in the United States that aren't these evil people. They can't put the pettiness aside. There's organizations that are conservative organizations that literally fight with each other. And they're trying to accomplish the same thing because one wants to be more important than another. So there's no humility. It's run by people just wanting to I don't know, be the Rush Limbaugh. I don't know what they want. But all I know is that if we can, within our organizations that we have, right, center and right of center, if we can actually start getting along and collaborating and communicating with each other, we could accomplish a lot. We could bring our bases together, right, and stop paying taxes. Literally have 5 million, 10 million, 20 million people that just stop doing it, that literally start voting to put people in office that get rid of this ridiculousness that they call simple things, like just simple things, like what is it, the tolls that they have on roads that you already pay for, right? We can get rid of the fat. We just got to be able to stand up together. That's it. That's all I'm saying. We always want to talk about it. We don't want to be about it. We don't want to actually do the things that are necessary in order to bring change. So, and then when you do bring change, everyone gets really excited because they get a little bit of, notoriety, and then all of a sudden they can't play with everyone else. That's the thing that I'm talking about, Max, is that we eat our own.
I understand that. And what I'm focusing on is the fact that every given day, you're never more than an arm's length away from someone who's just pure evil.
Right.
Like this is a representation of a much larger population of people that heard that Donald Trump had COVID and they're happy about it. This is, people are putting in the comment section, this is literally a fight of good against evil. Like for all of our faults, right? 100%. We never hoped that Ruth Bader Ginsburg would die. When we learned that they went in to treat cancer in one area of her body and took out cancer in another area, it was obvious that it had metastasized, and we didn't hope she died. We hoped that she retired with dignity to spend time with her loved ones and her family members.
Yeah.
Right? We never hoped that she died. Like for everything that we were mad about Obama, we never actually hoped that he died. I'm sure there were some people out there that wanted him dead. They're idiots. They're crazy. No serious person wanted Barack Obama dead. Like, I hope he dies from swine flu. We didn't hear that on the right. That wasn't a thing. The left is crazy.
Yeah, but here's the other thing. Zach said, "Do you think we're at the end of the world?" Yeah, and the Bible does say that right will become wrong, that wrong will become right, and that Do I think that? Yeah, I think we're at the end. I think they're at the end. And is that 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years? I don't know. All I know is that this world can't survive in the chaos that it's in right now. It can't. We cannot. We literally are seeing, Max. And I know we're going over, but I serve on the board for an organization that works with refugees, right? And it's an amazing organization, and it's something that I do because I do want to help people to realize that, first of all, that indoctrination is not normal, and that if all they're hearing from are left-leaning, just evil people, there's a high probability that those refugees will end up going that direction. So a couple days ago, they're in East Denver, almost in Aurora. They got broken into, right? And they literally smashed through the place, went in there, stole checks, turned it over. This is an organization literally that just helps people. It feeds 2,500 families literally a week, and they went in and smashed the place up, right? So the next day, they went in, they cleaned it up, did everything they could, and had to cancel bank accounts and do all this stuff. The next day, it came back with 4 other people, shut the power down, and went through and just smashed everything else, and started stealing equipment and doing things like that, right? Third day in a row, they come back. Police didn't do anything about it. This is the type of thing that's happening in our community, right? This evilness, there's no end to it. There's no consequences, right? You can't. And one of the people that supports it said, "I'll just show up there and I'll have my AR-15. I'll be inside, and when he comes in, I'll shoot him." You can't do that either, right? They could come at you with, they could actually attack you, but because it's a commercial property, right? You have an obligation to retreat.
Yeah, unless you put a cot in the back room and you say you're sleeping there.
It is
that's
crazy.
The only workaround.
It is crazy what is happening in our country. It's crazy. It's not even. We're dealing with a lack of logic that is just. It amazes me that we actually have to even have this conversation. It does.
So the reason I wanted to do this is because the first step to fixing the problem is recognizing you have the problem. Right? That's the old Alcoholics Anonymous mantra. In order to get rid of this cancer in our society, you have to call it out by name. And that's what we did today. We called out the people by name. But make no mistake, this is not a one-off. This is a same branch from the same tree of what we've been seeing all year, right? It's the same leftist lunacy that says it's okay to go out and riot and loot, but it's not okay to go to church and pray. Right? That it's okay to party in the streets of Chinatown with Nancy Pelosi, but if you have a business, you can't open, right? It's the same mentality that said we're going to pick winners and losers, and oh, by the way, small businesses are all just going to be losers. Sorry. Government employees are all going to be winners, you're going to be losers. It's the teachers unions that said, oh, we support essential workers, and then the minute they got classified as essential workers, went on strike. Right? It's this twisted mentality. And we've seen it developing all year. And it's taking the division in this country and it's widening the gap.
Right.
And it's basically people using their power to spread us even further apart. And then you see something like this, and the people are so secure. They feel so secure in their livelihoods that they're willing to actually go on Twitter and say, I hope the president of the United States dies. And as I showed, it's not just one industry. There were video game developers. There were people, photographers, videographers,
and
film critics.
They should all lose their jobs. Every last one of them should lose their jobs.
If that's the rule we live under.
Every last one of them should lose their jobs. Right? They should.
The problem is they're just part of the problem because a lot of people feel the same thing and they're not saying it. They're writing the TV shows, right? They're writing books. They're writing the school textbooks. Right? They're the one driving our culture. These people that are happy that President of the United States might die. And again, based on the statistics, he has a 95% chance of surviving if he was an average 70-year-old. He has access to bleeding-edge technology and medical advancement, so he'll probably be okay. But the fact that these people are celebrating today, and they thought that they could delete their tweets before I found them, no, I feel that the best way to put a stop to this is to name and shame them. And if we're going to live under this cancel culture, then every single person needs to be named. Listen, sunlight is the best disinfectant. If we want to purge ourselves of these idiots, you don't bury it because then they're going to say, oh, I got away with it. It'll be worse next time. They'll inject it into the video games they develop. They'll inject it into the movies they produce. They'll inject it into the TV shows they write. I know, but they'll feel emboldened because they got away with it. Like, one of the things we didn't show was people were posting a clip from The Simpsons of Donald Trump dead. That was in The Simpsons. It's already there, folks. So, yeah, we have to purge these people out of any position of power. And it's not just politicians. It's not just school boards. Media is power. It drives our culture. So, yes, these people need to be named and shamed and dragged out of power. I've gone on enough. Any final words, Joe, as we wrap this up?
We're in that place. Right. I mean, again, I don't necessarily agree with the naming and shaming because, frankly, I don't care about these people. I think they're terrible human beings. Right. But I think that we need to put our effort into actually fighting against the left together, right? And I think we're there. I think we're actually at a place now where people are willing to accept people where they are, not where they want them to be, so that we can actually take back our communities, take back our society. And we're closer than you'd think, Max, to the tipping point actually going our way. We're closer than you think. The generation coming up right now.
We're also closer to losing everything.
We are. But that means we have to vote. That means we have to create opportunity where we can actually have the right tools to go fight in our society. And frankly, we have to start thinking more than a year ahead. We have to stop putting things away on November 4th and thinking, it'll be okay. Well, we'll come back out again in 4 years. We got to stay consistent. We got to stay disciplined to the fact that we have to make sure that we maintain, right, protections on our society and in our country.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, that's going to be it for this edition of the Conservative Daily Podcast. We have a link in our description. Please do go to it. If you have an iPhone or a Mac, it's very easy. Go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a good review, write a couple sentences about what you like about the show, give us 5 stars. It really helps as we try and grow the audio version of the podcast. You can also download the audio version, subscribe on, obviously, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Podbean. Definitely do that. Even if you watch live, do that so that if you're out and about, you can listen as you go about your day. And if you listen to the audio version, we go live on YouTube and Facebook Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So check us out there. There's also a link to sign up for our email newsletter. If you're on Parler, follow us at Conservative Daily. We'll be happy to follow you back. A link for you to check out some of the merch in our store. And just check out all the links. Help support the channel. We really do appreciate it. So again, my name is Max McGuire.
And this is Joe Otto.
And remember that the fight to take back our country clearly isn't over, but the only way we win is if we all stand and fight together.